Head N, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Vikram Nair.
Chairman, I beg to move that the sum allocated for Head N of the estimates be reduced by $100. In 1945, following the end of World War II, the countries of the world came together to set up the United Nations. The leaders behind this initiative included the US, the Soviet Union, Republic of China, United Kingdom, and France, the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. The Charter of the United Nations included articles prohibiting the use of force, save in limited circumstances. The same concept had been applied the year earlier, in 1944, at Bretton Woods, when the world community came together to set up the International Monetary Fund and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which later became the World Bank. These institutions became operational in 1945, once enough countries signed up. 2 years later, in 1947, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade was entered into, which laid the foundation for international trade and the World Trade Organization. Now, after the horrors of World War II, the idea behind these international agreements was to set up systems for a multilateral world where countries could mutually benefit and prosper. The UN would facilitate collective action in relation to security matters. The IMF would help regulate financial and currency markets, and the World Bank would provide loans, initially to help reconstruct countries ravaged by the war, but later to help developing countries in need. And GATT, which laid the foundation for world trade, was to help countries prosper through international trade. On the back of these organizations, many countries, Singapore included, lived in a world that was relatively safe and provided the means for any country, big or small, to prosper and develop. Of course, there was no panacea to eliminate conflict altogether and poverty altogether. But certainly as a whole, the 80 years since the end of World War II has marked a heightened awareness and compliance with these international norms than any century before. Against this backdrop, the events in recent years have marked strong pressures amongst nations to pull back from multilateralism. The fast-moving business cycles and dynamism of creative destruction has left many workers in countries feeling displaced as the companies they worked in got restructured or disrupted. At the same time, those who did the disruption profited handsomely, with fresh billionaires being minted every year, particularly in the technology sector. Free trade has been under continuing pressure, with the 2 largest economies, China and the US, having an intense rivalry in recent years that has made both more insular with their economic focus. The multilateral response to uphold the prohibition against the use of force is also under intense pressure. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is a direct violation of Article 2.4 of the UN Charter. However, as Russia is a Security Council member of the UN, a coordinated response by the UN Security Council is not possible. It would be possible for countries to take action outside the auspices of the UN, say if they were invited by Ukraine's government to assist, but other countries, including those in NATO, have been reluctant to get involved militarily, as they are concerned this may escalate matters into a full-blown European war. As a result, Ukraine has been left to fight the war on its own. The weakening of this multilateral system is a serious concern for me, particularly where it appears to be that the major powers who are the architects of the system are themselves pulling away from it. This makes it more likely that major powers will clash and that smaller countries may get swallowed up or trampled on during these confrontations. What is Singapore's best approach in such an environment? I would like to ask whether the Ministry of Foreign Affairs believes that Singapore can take any steps on our part to uphold the multilateral systems and the international order. Thank you.